Good afternoon from Los Angeles. It's Alyssa Corum and Ed Carson here with a look at the stock market today. We're reporting to you from our newsroom, and on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Apple, Boeing, as well as ServiceNow. But first, a look at how the major indexes performed today. We closed slightly mixed here. The Nasdaq reversing higher, closing 0.2% higher today. The S&P 500 finished up 0.1%, while the Dow lagged on the downside. We're going to talk about Boeing here soon. The Dow finishing down 0.3%. But overall, we are getting very close to those old highs.
Yeah, I mean, we're about 2% off the highs on basically all the major averages. And that's interesting because so far we've had a tradable rally. It's definitely been the last few months you could buy stocks. It's something to play with, but it wasn't. We still don't know for sure. Is this the beginning of a new leg in the long bull market? Mike Webster, who was on a podcast last week, the Market Smith podcast, that was something that he's talked about. If we can get past, the old highs, like convincingly, that would be a really positive sign that we are in a new multi-year bull market. Yeah,
that seems like the next test here, that 8,000 psychological level and the old highs. So we will definitely be watching to see exactly as you said. And this is the Investing with IBD podcast. So go to investors.com/podcast. You can still listen to last week's episodes and catch up on all the episodes. We will be dropping our 5th episode later this week, so keep an eye out for that. But let's take a look at some individual names. We want to talk about Apple because it cleared a buy point today. This is something that we talked a little bit about last week as it was nearing that level. So it did close up about 1.6% today, near its session high, which is positive, but volume wasn't really there.
Yeah, there are some flaws with this. I mean, obviously, Apple breaking out is great for the indexes. I mean, that's one reason why the averages closed near session highs. But there's a few things wrong. The volume was light. You'd like to see volume 40 to 50% above normal. This one was below average. Not great. They can work. It's just less likely to. The base is relatively deep, 39% deep or so. When they get 40% or more deep, that's really a problem. So it's right on the edge.
Yeah.
And the handle is just above the midpoint. Right. I mean, that's technically correct, but it's sort of like I got a C-, I passed. It's like, yes, you passed. But it's but there's a lot of overhead resistance. There's
it's still 14% below highs.
Yeah, a lot of people who bought back, September, October might be thinking maybe now's the time to sell, and so that could put pressure on the advance.
That's right. So we'll watch Apple and see how it handles this breakout.
Yeah.
And next on our list is Boeing, which closed the day down some 4.4% and above average turnover. So getting turned away at the 50-day moving average with continued problems with this 737 MAX. It cut its production by 10 on a monthly basis, which was more or less expected, but we don't know how long these problems are going to last for Boeing.
Yeah, the magnitude may or may not have been a surprise. Definitely, I think everybody knew that something was going to have to happen.
Right.
I mean, they're not doing any deliveries. They're not getting orders. Obviously, that was going to at some point be an issue. I think one of the issues for investors is that, they're reassessing, Wall Street's reassessing, thinking maybe this is going to last a lot longer. Bank of America says maybe this is going to last 6 to 9 months. And just as a technical standpoint, yeah, I had nice support at the 200-day line a couple weeks ago, but it hadn't formed a new base, really, hadn't formed a new buy point. There really wasn't a reason to be buying this. I mean, let somebody else do the hard work.
Yeah.
And let it wait until it sets up, because this was not a great spot.
Yeah, technically it did get back above that old buy point, but clear resistance here at the 50-day line. So not a stock that is getting support at the 50-day, trending higher, breaking out of a chart pattern, which is what we really want to be looking for.
Yeah.
and ServiceNow. Speaking of support at the 50-day, we are seeing support at the 50-day line for ServiceNow. It closed up fractionally here, but software stocks last week, seemingly some profit taking happening after the sector has seen quite a big run so far this year. So what would we want to see now now?
I mean, obviously for ServiceNow, and you see this with a lot of these stocks, they were huge winners in February and parts of it. But, you know, in March and April, now they've had like 3 or 4 big selling days. I mean, you can't see the volume there, but there you can see some big losses on that chart. It's getting support at the 50-day line, but you want to see it rebounding. You would like to see if software stocks can continue to lead. And the RS line sort of moved sideways, sort of moved down on ServiceNow and some other ones. Others moved a little bit better today, but it's just chips have come to the fore, which is great.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of people, you can't necessarily assume that software is going to keep on going. Now, maybe it will.
Right.
It's not lagging really, but it's not leading like it was, and that can happen.
Right, and you know, this group, we've been saying, oh, we've seen so many breakouts, a lot of them are extended, so it's actually kind of good to see them pull back a little bit, and if we can see some rebounds off of the 50-day, that would be an add-on opportunity.
Absolutely, and there's other stocks like Fortinet and others that are formed based on base formation, so there's nothing wrong to take a pause, but it's just you have to recognize that maybe software won't be as strong as before. That's
right. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And again, a reminder to check out the weekly Investing with IBD podcast. A new episode drops every Thursday. And you can also check out our content across social media, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter. And we have lots of stuff, lots of things going on across social media, so make sure you're subscribing and following for the latest. Thanks for joining us. Investors.com is the place to check out all the latest stock news and analysis. Until next time, this has been Alyssa Corum and Ed Carson.